Oh my God.
Ladies and gentlemen, they got a taste of the metalhead in me right there.
I feel like I should go out and see if my car's dented. That was a dent.
Dude, it was an indie author, DB Rook. Him and his Terminal Sun is his band name. They killed it for me. I'm a metalhead.
That is awesome.
Love it. Thank you. Oh, man. This is an experience that I've been looking for so much. J.A.J. Minton, which includes John, Amy, and Jacob. How are y'all tonight?
We're fabulous.
We're
Thanks
great.
for having us.
Absolutely great.
I'm even more excited than I was 20 seconds ago.
Bro,
What an
it'll
intro.
get the adrenaline pumping, won't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I need to hit concessions to get a concert tee. That was amazing.
I don't, baby. 1 second, guys. I don't. Well, yeah, I gave him one before. The wifey had to pop in for a second, had to get some kid tips. The Poggy went or the pacifier went lost. So
That's an emergency.
It is. So I'm so
gotta keep the
glad.
plug in.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you guys here. Wow, the amount of questions I typically have, it's pretty easy to come up with things. It was harder in the sense that I have so many, but I've narrowed it down so we're not here for 7.5 hours.
Okay.
So let's just start here. Introduce yourself, each one of you, and kind of go from there. Maybe something personal, just kind of whatever you want to say, and then we'll get into the deeper grind, if you will.
You go first, son. You're the first J.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first J.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, it was your initial idea, so you've always been the first J.
Okay.
I'm learning things today. Hey, Slay. My name is Jacob. I am the son of these two people above me. I do most of the editing on Talking Story and way less of the reading. So I feel pretty happy and lucky to be here, and we've spent the past 3 years writing this book together, and I'm pretty excited for it to be coming out. So
Oh man, excellent. Next.
Oh, I am Amy Minton. I am the wife and mother of these two fine gentlemen. I'm so excited that I'm so excited to be sharing this story. I mean, because it's just been something we've been working on for so long, cracking each other up and being like just really having a good time together and using our influences and using it's just been such a blast inside our house that to bring it outside of the house to everybody else, it's just been a trip. So I'm so excited about all of this. Just absolutely thrilled. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. I'm honored.
I don't understand.
My name is John Minton, and I'm the last J in J.A.J. Minton, and I'm just excited to be here. Because I feel like you guys have carried me. Like you get the shoulders on these two should be tired because they kind of like just carry me along. But it's when we were young, we built a theater company together, and now a little later in life with our kid, we write a book together, and it has been magical life, man. It has been a magical life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know how many questions in my head you guys have already answered? It's kind of
so we're down about 7.5 hours to maybe a
we
solid,
just cut down that 7.5 hours just for introducing ourselves.
Solid.
I was telling them before we popped on here that the amount of questions that possibly could have been written down for them was endless. Being familiar with someone and also looking up to somebody, it's easy to come up with questions. But I'm going to spare the 7.5 hour version of this. But either way, I'm very happy you guys are here. So it's touching. First, I want to say this, and this is more of like a personal thing. I love the family aspect. If there's something that I'm about personally or love to see and try to incorporate into my life, it's that my group is close and we strive to be closer. So the fact that a family and I get to talk with and look up to and hear about and read the story in which was birthed from you guys, is truly something I think is very special, and I seriously look up to. So thanks for letting me be a part of this, and truly, it's very cool. And I think that there should be more of stuff like that. The
Oh,
family
thank you, man.
is something that I find super,
Oh,
super
thank you.
inspiring.
Second of all, like we hope that we're inspiring other families to do this because the kind of fun that we had and the kind of like the additional input into a story and having kind of a writer's room in your dining room was just like, this is what people should be doing.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
So starting, you two made a theater company together, and then it's kind of evolved into, along the same wavelength of creativity and passion. How does it feel, as that evolution has come to where it is now? Like, I'm sure the beginning where you guys were doing the theater production was a lot of creativity, but how is it the same and how is it different?
You want to go first?
I'll go first because I was just thinking about this the other day about how much it prepared us for what's happening now because we're just so much wiser from having created that artwork, from having made so many mistakes and in presenting story to an audience. And we've kind of we've kind of been through the ringer with it. And, Jacob was very, very young when we were doing this. Like I was pregnant with him during a show. And then when he got a little bit older, he saw us, his dad and me do Willy Wonka at a children's theater. And he completely freaked out.
I thought I watched my dad drown in chocolate, like live in front of everybody. I thought I just lost my dad.
That's how realistic I was.
He was so good.
Yeah. And I want to point out he was not as distressed when I died from the squirrels.
Yeah.
The bruises.
He was used to it.
Yeah. But like all of that aspect of like not only making so many mistakes, and I think, failing at your art is really what makes you better. Like, I'm not sure the successes make you that much better. You can kind of rest on your laurels, but your mistakes really do inform how you go forward and what you can correct and how you can make it better. And I just feel like the theater times were just full of like loads of mistakes.
Oh yeah,
and fun ones too.
Oh, we had plenty of mistakes.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then with Jacob being involved so early in that was a cool. Yeah, I mean, like Jacob was involved in some readings. Like some friends who were playwrights wanted to do like a original play readings, and they would have Jacob and John, coming on stage and reading together. And I never thought Jacob would be an actor or in front of the camera at all. He just wasn't interested.
Mm-hmm.
So this part of it has surprised me quite a bit.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I wrote down what you said, which I think all of us that are here and will be here with this replay should write down. Failure at your art makes you better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Put it in stone.
Right, absolutely.
I think the thing that I carried forward is like we were so young when we started the theater company, and stupid young, and we did it while we could and made our mistakes and cut our teeth and had some fun. And then when Jacob came along, it just became, we couldn't raise him and work that kind of. We couldn't have that kind of life anymore.
Yeah, we had to get big boy and big girl jobs.
Yeah. So now, like, to fast forward from there to kind of do something all together, it's kind of been like an evolution, like a full circle kind of thing.
Ooh, I like that. It's come to kind of fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we talked to Jacob quite a bit about how to manage a full-time job in your art, and he's always asking, like what how do you do this? How do you do this? And the answer sometimes is you don't.
Not well. Yeah, and that's just the way it goes. Yeah, you're just not gonna make it look easy. It's not, because it's just never gonna be.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that for so many reasons, because it's like no matter what I'm speaking from personal experience, like whether it's writing or playing the drums or doing a YouTube channel or whatever, you almost have to just like power through those hard moments in which you're like, I know this isn't the best I can do, but I have to just kind of have this evolve.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. That's right.
And I love the fact that kind of started early from what I hear is a precious time in your guys' life. And then to see Jacob kind of be brought along, and now he's being this creative person, both with what you do with your dad and what you went to college for, but also in writing this book. So love that. Jacob, how was it for you? I know that you didn't necessarily start or have much of a hand in this theater production time of your guys' life, but how has it been growing up with parents that are creative?
You have very little say of what the people around you do when you're 2 years old.
Yeah, for sure. But we try though, right?
Yeah, we try our best. It doesn't always work out, but
so seeing that kind of like come to fruition, that's both important to your mom and your dad, and then finding that spot that you are interested in.
I never thought of it as something that any of us really wanted to do. I mean, when we were younger, I know my parents never really wanted me to be an actor or be in the arts or anything, because it can be a rough industry to get into. So when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be a marine biologist. They were pretty happy that I had made that decision. And then decided later I want to be a film director. And they were like, uh-oh, here we go. But we had never thought about, well, let's all work on something together until we came across this story. And then my mom took a liking to it, and we started consulting my dad on it. And then it just kind of happened. Like no one made the decision that we should all work on this together. It just kind of formed organically. And it felt like a full circle moment that we never knew was coming. It was really fun.
So first of all, man, what is your degree technically called?
Broadcasting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you are absolutely excellent at that, dude. Like, I am envious of your skill, brother. I think you went right where you were supposed to go. Man, the videos that you guys do, and it's not just like the visual either. Like, I know the work that you put into having those, like the intro song is peaceful. It's like, okay, let's get into this. That takes time to even find or create, however you did it.
It took a long time.
I want to say I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, to touch on what I guess we were all talking about earlier, is like, I would love to spend 8 hours a day just working on Talking Story and writing whatever comes next. And can't do that, really. I got a job and a fiance and all kinds of stuff. You still got to have a life and just do what you can. So
yeah.
But yeah.
By the way, congrats on the
thank you.
Fiance. Yes, I remember the announcement and the videos and him, your father talking about it, and
I'll take brother.
Right? So that's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thanks so much.
There's so many wonderful people here too. Let me shout out some real quick.
Yeah.
Janny Wirtz.
Amazing. I had to throw that up. Janny, I think we all have the exact same opinion of Janny. She is just full of wisdom and excellence, and her prose is unlike anybody else's. So I'm so happy to see you here.
One of my favorite people. Slay.
Yeah, man. Slay. Janny was a big mentor. This book would not be what the book is without Janny.
Without Janny.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to ask about that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. Because, and naturally when someone's like, I've got a book coming out, who is that in which inspired it? And yeah, my head went in circles. So happy to see you here, Slay. I know that Belltube or Brian and John last night were trying to, I'm going to say it like Belltube did, I think. Thanks, Lebix.
Actually, his name is Pat.
Pat, what's up, Pat, dude? Thank you.
So much easier.
Yeah.
It is, dude. Pat, my man.
I asked that question inside our server, and I got the answer. I'm happy to share it. I'm sorry, Pat, if you didn't want that to be known, but
you didn't want that. I'm sorry.
Now you're
doxed Pat live on stream.
Actually, I saw someone say hi, Pat, so I know it's there.
No,
good deal. Curran, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you here. Let's see, El Montague, my man. What's going on, brother? What's going on, Britain? Some of these people, I'm breaking their first names out now.
Yeah.
Jenna, what's going on? Zach, look at that. Breaking your first name out, but I cheated. I looked.
Hey, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
Let's see here. Tori, what's going on, Tori? It's good to see you.
Tori's here. Hey.
He's here.
Evan, good to see you, brother. NJ, it's good to see you, man. I'm glad that you're doing better. He had a medical issue. He's fighting it. He's out stronger than ever.
Good for you.
Wonderful.
Good to hear that.
Well done. Well done, sir.
So we'll dive into, if you guys would, and I don't mind who does it, obviously. It's between the three of you, whoever wants to do it, or all three of you. Just what is the title? What's the overview? And the genre or genres you would like to say in which they fall in. This falls into.
Why don't we each take one?
Sure.
And leave me the easy one.
You go. If I'm going first, I'm taking the title is Discovery, and we have a series. We have a series called Strange Eons, and that is that's a little bit of a riff on the famous Lovecraft quote. Don't ask me to quote it right now. That Jacob does it well, don't you,
Jacob
bud?
can do it well.
Oh boy. Well, I'm nervous on stream.
Pressure's on now.
I forget the beginning, but it's in Strange Eons even that which is dead may eternal lie, and in Strange Eons even death may die.
Okay.
So that's the Lovecraft quote, and so we took ours.
I have to take time to dissect like each word of his quote.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
No,
but that's going to be. So this is book 1. We think there are going to be 5 major books, and we're going to be doing novellas in between. And so we're working on the novella right now, and
that's never been announced.
Oh, that's
Come to Beard of Darkness for that.
Yes.
Yeah. We're working on 1.5.
1.5 is in the hopper,
And there's a lot of work already done on books 2 and 3 because we didn't know what the heck book 1 was, so
we wrote it backwards.
We wrote the whole series backwards.
that kind of that I put myself in a lot of the situations in which the people I speak with go through just by hearsay, and you saying that lets me in and gives me some insight to what I can expect, in the future when I write.
Yes,
it's got to be difficult sometimes to look at a story as a whole and decide where to start. Where book 2, book 3, book 4 is going to start or end.
Matthew, we decided where it started and we were wrong.
I was going to say, it makes it extra hard when you lay everything out and then don't even answer that question.
Yeah, it was, we were just like, well, it starts probably a little earlier than you think it does.
Yeah.
And
because of lore or...
Yeah, I was always taught when you're it's lore and it's world building. Especially if you're doing a series. I was always taught in short story writing that you want to start closest to the end as possible. We were dead wrong about where to start. So we ended up writing book 3 first, and then we wrote book 1 and 2 together. And when it was getting to be like a 200,000 words, I was like, hey guys, I think this is a PL.
He's a gangster, man.
He's so good.
I love
love. Papa Love is what John calls it. Papa Love. So yes, we wrote it. We wrote almost the whole series backwards.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about that, but can I ask about that after we kind of do the overview?
Sorry.
Discovery.
Yep. I'm out of order.
What was the other one? What it's kind of about?
You've covered everything.
The overview and the genres.
Overview and genre. Yep.
The genre is go ahead.
The genre?
Yeah.
Kind of like
look, baby, are you all right tonight? Wake up.
Genre is the hard one.
Well, cosmic horror,
action, mystery, sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a genre blender. It's got so much stuff in there.
It does. Just from my experience, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It does. Yeah. It opens, and I would say, aside from genre and how hard that is to do, right? Because like you said, there's a mixture. The atmosphere just sucked me right in. It's just that atmospheric. What I've never. I'm like Brian. I'm gonna compare myself to Brian again. Like last night, I was watching your guys' chat. Was it last night?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where he was. I never considered reading anything cosmic horror other than H.P. Lovecraft. And I'm so glad that I was completely wrong about my idea of that. So this is my first experience with that genre. And what I'm sensing is that atmospheric suck in. I don't know how to say it any
I like
than that.
Dread.
Yeah.
Yes.
Existential dread. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So as far as like what you would say the overview is, obviously nobody's going to spoil anything, chat, or anybody in the replay when you watch this later. But if one of you would give an overview, kind of just a little glimpse at the story.
Well, I guess that's my turn.
That's your turn, bud.
I like he said, I'm not going to say anything that's not going to be on the back of the book.
Sure.
We begin with a. Thank you, love and lore. We begin with a disgraced game show host who makes an accidental discovery. Down at the bottom of the ocean, there is some sleeping creature, and there is a complete public outrage as this becomes, knowledge across the world that there is this comatose creature asleep in the ocean. What is it? What is it capable of? What can it do? There's a whole fallout from the discovery that happened and horrible events that transpired. So humanity just kind of freaks the hell out about what to do with this thing.
I love that. And wow, Jacob, you did a great. I always like to comment on this because a lot of people or authors, writers think that they may have spoiled anything. Sir, you left a lot to go after. You did not spoil anything. I love that.
Perfect.
That was a perfect summation.
I almost said more. Now I'm glad I didn't.
I can totally understand. Look, I try to put myself in the position of others, and it's hard when you haven't done what said person has done. And I can imagine having a story finished, at least, the first part of it, like you guys, the book one's about to come out, and me talking about it. People are going to have to hold me back. Like, they're going to have to tape my mouth shut. So I applaud it, for sure.
I know what you mean, man. It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard.
Bad.
Oh, yeah. Love and Lore asking if there is an audiobook. There are not currently plans for an audiobook just because that is crazy expensive, and we're trying to figure it out right now. Many people have asked, will my dad be doing the audiobook? No, because we got a lot of female characters and accents and cultural, differences follows a lot of different people around the world. So having one white guy voice it would be a little difficult. So we're figuring out a way.
Can I say
we're figuring things out? Yeah.
Can I say this
working on it
name like I do in my head?
Yeah.
Manny DiMartini.
Yes.
Perfect.
Did I get it?
Yes.
All right. Look at that, dude. Just natural.
Manny DiMartini is the name of the disgraced game show host that makes the discovery.
Yes.
There's quite a fuss about him. Yes. I love that. So, yeah, you guys hit that. And I would agree on all of it. Well, the subjective parts, the genre, it checks many boxes. And also, nobody's new to this and how I am. I'm very slow at comments. So I'm getting to all your guys' wonderful questions if they are there. What's up, Brian? Man, I've compared myself to you. I'm so sorry for that, by the way. A couple times already. I was watching your guys' chat last night, and it was wonderful. Great, wonderful chat. Zach, John, watch out.
Oh no,
I'm just joking.
I was having a moment on Discord before I came up here of just a moment of insecurity.
Yeah.
So Zach is just
It's
propping me up. He's a good man.
It's impossible not to recognize beautiful things. I'm all good with that.
That's sweet.
That's wonderful.
But Zach's being very sweet right now.
My man, I love that.
Yeah,
gentlemen. Hold up that book. Hold on. I'll hold it up. Hold on. I don't know if you're talking about the actual cover, but I came prepared, guys.
Ooh.
Oh wow! Hey.
I know
Isn't that beautiful?
Bases, but it captures what I was saying earlier. That atmospheric question. I don't know. I have questions when I see this. Good questions. This cover.
Are we pointless?
Yeah, dude. Like I see something in the rendition of Earth, right? And then maybe we always look at Earth and we see mostly water naturally, which just captures a lot of what the story has to offer. I love that. I'm going to clear that off. I clicked the button. Here we go. John and Jacob are back.
We're back.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I don't know. I kind of like the cover.
So I'm so curious. This was one of my favorite or my most anticipated questions. How did this start? I know that you guys have a creative background, but in particular to this book, how did it even come into play?
Jakob, it's you.
Yeah, that's on you, Jacob.
I took a television screenwriting class in my final semester of college. And it was one of those things where you have just like one project. Love you too, PL. So happy you're here. You're lovely. It was one of those things where they just give you one project, and by the end of the semester, it better be done. And the project was you have to finish a script for a television pilot, like first episode of a TV show.
Right.
Yeah. So throughout the semester, we're, coming up with ideas and starting to work on our pilot. And, we send a scene to all of our classmates weekly, and they review it and say if they liked it or, give you critiques. And I had this idea that I can't really say what it is because, like we talked about, we're going to get to it in book 3. So
I think it's the opening scene of book 3, isn't it?
Yeah. But one of the assignments that we had to do for the class was come up with, all right, you've got your plan for a pilot. Now you have to come up with a 5-season arc. Like you have to know how the whole show goes. And I was having a real tough time with figuring out what happened. So I called my dad. And once again, I can't say what it is, but he said, well, what if you do this? And I said, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
How do you expect me to write that? That's ridiculous. And then, as I often do when people tell me ideas like that, I go, that's stupid. And then I stew on it for 2 days and go, no, that's what I should do.
I can relate.
Yeah. So I went with that, turned in the pilot script at the end of the semester. They didn't like it. I came home and asked my parents, is this bad? What are we looking at here? Is it really not that great? And they said, no, there's something here. And then my mom got attached to one of the characters and just really was drawn to her and started seeing like her environment and getting descriptive with like, I know what this person's like front lawn looks like little pieces like that just made it feel very real. So my mom got sucked in and started doing research on things. And then my dad got sucked in because we had questions about, what are we doing? If we were to do this, how does that change things? And we usually bring him in for like big macro questions he can answer really quickly. And then, like I said, it just kind of started happening that we were suddenly moving like note cards around on our dining room table and plotting things out. And 3 years later, we have a book.
Yeah,
you've got this baby that's been created, right? Through the family getting together, coming together, and being inspired together, creating together. Man, that's super special. So I love hearing about the class, and that just sounds fun to me. That has really nothing to do with our interview, but I was just going to say that sounds super fun. I would love being in a class, like just pitching ideas. I went to college, but it wasn't for anything creative. I didn't find that bone right until I was a little bit older. So it was very cool to hear about. Now,
it was cool.
I'll bet, man. And you do again, you do a wonderful job at what you do, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So as far as the inspirations, and if you could, all three of you kind of just throw some inspirations you've used in the creation of this story, I would love to hear that.
Go ahead.
Who goes first?
We all come from such different places, so this is
we do. But originally, like when I was in junior high, middle school, I read a lot of Stephen King.
Okay.
And so his voice and his way of attacking a story is one of my favorite ways of doing that. It just seems like when you're reading a Stephen King story, that because there's an ease that he brings to the narration. And one of my favorite stories he's done is Dolores Claiborne, and that voice of it's just a long monologue, and I think it's just really brilliant. It's one of his less supernatural stories, straightforward. Anyway, that aside, like, and that after I got through my Stephen King phase, I got a master's in fine art. So I got into the high literature phase. And that's where, I'm just like, there's no genre. There's no, I just didn't read any of these stories that I grew up loving. Like I had an anthology of an Alfred Hitchcock. It was all like pulp stories, like Robert Bloch, and just like these gritty suspense tales, horror tales. And I mean, I wore that book down, and I loved Hitchcock. I loved all of that. So all of this, this return to what we're doing now is really, it feels good to me. It feels like it's just I spent some time away, and it feels like a homecoming. And so I'm really, it makes me feel happy when I write it.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah. So a lot of the literary stuff that I've done, it felt like it was kind of like straining and pushing, and and you can see that in the work. It's just not, to me, it's just not very good. Because I just wasn't I wasn't where I was supposed to be.
Okay.
And I heard some things, and I've heard some beautiful things in my MFA program about like writing and how to write. And one of my favorite teachers would say things like, a writer at play is producing the best kind of work. So, and just like nature at play, like a butterfly or observing nature at play, dolphins in the water, whatever, it's like, that is the most constructive, creative moment that you can have. And I've always felt that, like, when we were around the table or talking together and we were playing, that was our strongest stuff.
Yeah.
And even now, when people are reading the advanced copies and telling us what their favorite chapters are, I can tell you just how much we were entertaining each other and how much fun we had writing those chapters. So it ended up being very true, this maxim of writers at play. So like for me, this is like, this is coming together. And also, I didn't understand Lovecraft. I didn't understand cosmic horror. These two guys loved it from the get-go. Jacob loved it since he was a kid. I didn't get it. And I was always asking John about it. Like, what's the deal? Why would people want to wake up Cthulhu? Why would you want to worship a thing that when it wakes up, it's going to kill you? And he would try to explain it, and I wouldn't get it.
Beard's so excited by that question.
Yeah,
I did.
And it was like, and so John would explain it, and I would be like, okay, maybe. So a lot of this is for me to just kind of work out why people would want to do this. And the answer is self-destruction for me. It's one of the answers, but it's just like the nature of humanity to do this kind of thing. So a lot of it's me just kind of like trying to work it out, and not only that, trying to explain it to other people who may not read this or understand it. That I'm, just really trying to like, hey, these are my thoughts, and I'm just gonna like kind of push it out there and see, if people don't understand it, maybe they will. After, like, I don't have all the answers. I'm just guessing.
No, I 100% get what you're saying. I got Jacob said I got excited. I did. What the question you posed with, why would someone, and it just connected. Why would somebody want to wake up Cthulhu, right?
Right.
Oh my gosh! For the same reason I dove into this book. Why? Like, what would happen if what is down there? Like, is it real? Like, that is the feeling that I had starting this novel. That was the purest sense of me understanding how I felt.
Yeah.
With you posing that question.
Great. Isn't that a great place to start?
Yeah.
Where you're just working things out.
Yeah. It's like, what happens if I poke the bear kind of thing?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And then what happens if I poke the bear? Well, guess what?
It's not good.
Right. But still, I want to try.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
just seems like human
There's
nature
something
to
in you
try.
that makes you want to try.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's the fun part. And so like now when you get that and you're working it out, I mean the next thing that you have to do is to start playing and having fun. Yeah.
I have to agree with PL Stewart 1,000%
man.
on this. Like the first few chapters of reading and discovering, you just know you're at a start of something really special. You do. And I think that you tackle it from the point of views that were, it sounds like very natural, but I'm not spoiling anything, but there's people in the media who tell us these stories, right?
Mhm.
And having that point of view translates to the reader, i.e. me, from my personal experience, so well. So
That's good to hear.
That's great to hear.
There were
So,
like 8
John,
different beginnings of this book.
That there was
we
8
tried.
different
There
beginnings.
were like we struggled with the beginning of this quite a bit.
Beginning with
Yeah.
a puzzle to put together.
And it,
well,
you know,
I can understand like how, the story being what it is. Yeah, I'm going to say too much if I go into anything, but John.
Yeah, trust us. There were many drafts.
there were many drafts
Of that.
Oh, I can imagine.
and it was really, when Janny got involved.
Yeah, Janny helped.
And I would say like, I might be outsizing what, like she wasn't on the phone with us like every day or anything. Like I had one phone conversation with her, I think, or two, and she just straightened us out so quick.
Yeah.
Like she was just like,
You don't play games. She's right to the
no. Like
she did not play games.
I was actually terrified of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
But she, one of the questions that she asked, and I noticed it in the chat, was like, how hard do you want to work? Is what she asked me.
Yeah.
How hard do you want to work? And I looked at Jacob, I remember, and we both said just like hard, very hard. We want this. And these are like, I could almost feel like the tears coming out of my eyes. I was like, I want this. I want to finish this and I want to do this right. And Jenny's like, good. Now this is what you need to do. And I just started writing everything down. And, she's an angel. She's tough. She's kind of like our Booktube mother, isn't she?
Well,
like she's just
absolutely.
Yeah.
I learned more about storytelling in that 40-minute phone call than I did at 4 years of college.
Without hands down, easily.
I just had to throw up the.
No,
please buy that. Everybody buy that.
Yeah, Janny Wertz is a genius.
Yeah,
she is.
Yeah,
the way she puts characters in situations that really tell who they are, like it translates to the reader so wonderful. I had to shout that out.
Thank you.
I love to hear that. PL said, and I had this feeling too, like growing up, I was born in 90. Growing up then has a feel to it, just like everybody has that nostalgic era in their lives. It hit that for me as well, PL. I'm curious, how old are you, Jacob?
I'm 24. I didn't see 1 year of the 90s.
No, that's awesome, man. Born in 2000. Wonderful.
There were actually many times that we were writing this book that I'd be like, well, you could just like, why don't they text him? And they're like,
right.
Can't.
Yeah. There's no texting.
So I remember.
So they would just hop on the internet. He said they would just hop on the internet. I said, no, they don't.
No, they do not.
Hopping on the internet back then was like, wee wee.
He said email, and I said, nope.
And then when you call your friends or your buddies or whatever, and they're on the internet, it kicks them off, and then they call you back angry.
Yeah, there's still like landlines. Yeah, we would have to. He would always be just like, and then they emailed, and I would just walk it back, buddy. Nope. So we had a list. We had a list of 1990s technology like posted in the house. Like, here's where you live, right here.
It's so fun to look back on those times. It is. Oh my goodness. It's good to see you, Molly. What's going on? It's good to see you here. PL, and I know this, PL, that Janny is your author. She is like your favorite. I get that. And that's awesome. Janny is an excellent marker for greatness. If you want to get there, she can show you the path. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's so true. And she's so giving is the amazing thing about it. Yeah.
Amazing.
So that in itself is inspiring right there. Yes. You have those deep-seated inspiration, like Amy, what you were saying, Stephen King. And then you have those inspirations that are right there in the moment, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So her being a part of that is incredible.
yeah, like I want to be Janny. Like that's like Stephen King is one thing, but like I want to be Janny and how giving she is and how much everyone looks up to her and how everyone kind of just reveres her because she's just, she's finished this amazingly huge series.
12 books, right?
Yeah, it's like everything is about her is just like that's what I want. And it helps that she's female because like we don't get a lot of those, so
Yes.
I'm just really grateful for Janny and people like Papa Love Stewart down there. I haven't gotten to his work yet, but I'm gonna tell you, like, one of the kindest people on the internet. And like when I saw him talk to John and Jacob, I was just like, I love this man so much.
Yeah,
I just want to put him in my pocket and keep him. Yes, with my personal Papa Love. But I mean, there's just so many people on BookTube like that.
Yeah,
he's a fellow bald bearded badass.
Yeah, that's right. That's who he is. That's who he is.
I love that. Yeah.
Absolutely, PL man, I love that dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, John,
yes, sir.
H.P. Lovecraft, but what were some of those more natural inspirations for you as well?
I mean, the same. I grew up reading Stephen King too, and I loved how he would. The portal always for Stephen King that sucks you into the completely unusual and unreal is always character. Always character.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're starting like his perfect love letter to cosmic horror is revival. And you just start with a kid playing in a sandbox with cars and the new minister walks up and they form a little relationship. And through that relationship, you peel back the curtain of the cosmos and see where all the mysteries are. But you start with that relationship of a little boy in the sand with his cars and the minister that walks up for the first time, fresh out of seminary, meeting his new flock. And this is where he lives, character. So I was there as well, and I've always loved Lovecraft, and I've always loved the lore. I've always loved using a pantheon to tell a story that reflects our human experience, so we can get to know ourselves a little bit better by throwing it up broad across a pantheon. So that's always been my jam, and I've always loved that. So when Jacob came to me with his ideas, I was like, oh, you know what you're doing? You're doing this, and you made this happen and this happen. And then they were doing all the work. They would do all the work. And then they would get to a point where it's like, well, I don't know how that works. And then they'd call me in. And it's like, well, no, it works because you've done this. You've created this. And it works this way. And then we would put the pieces together, so that's kind of where I lived. I came from the same place. I read so much Stephen King through junior high and loved horror all my life. And just recently found fantasy really when I started the channel. And and that,
man. We're similar in a lot of ways. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I would say those are my big inspirations.
Well, actually, we have a joke, Britton, that like when we
his feet left the ground,
that like he would sit in his rocker sometimes and explain to us what we had done. So what you're doing is you're rewriting this, and you're doing this, and you're changing this. And so if his feet leave the ground when he talks. When he starts doing this and his feet leave the ground, we know we hit it.
Yeah, if I start to levitate,
yeah, there it is.
It's like there's no faking how genuinely inspired John gets when he is. Like, that's why I love his channel for sure.
Yeah. And getting to do that with my wife and kid, like, it was the best. It was the best.
How proud were you when Jacob comes and says, look, I've got this idea. Here's the story. I mean, was it just like an explosion?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it really was. Like the first thing he did when he graduated college is he wrote a script and shot a short film that he got me to act in with him. So it's like we have been creating and doing some stuff. It's like when he really wanted to stick it to a professor that didn't like his work, and it's like, no, there's something here. I'm going to show him. I'm going to do this. And we all got involved. It's like, it was a very, very proud moment.
Yeah.
So
night PL.
Yes, I was gonna say, PL man, thank you so much for being here, brother. Have a wonderful night. So yeah, man, I can imagine. I'd like to think that hopefully one of my 4 kids will come to me and say, "Hey, I heard about this book," or whatnot. So I can just imagine as a father. That's really, really cool, man. Now, Jacob. I know that you were in classes and some of this was scheduled. I don't know what the word necessarily would be. as far as you having to do certain projects. But this one in particular, what were the inspirations once you all kind of dove in and committed to it?
Lovecraft was a big one. I mean, the project idea itself was born entirely out of hubris. There were so many ideas that cosmic horror couldn't be adapted to the screen, which I thought was stupid and ridiculous. So I
Rifkin getting lippy
salty.
Genuinely true. Yeah, I mean, especially like you watch like True Detective and like Annihilation. It's like, no, it can absolutely be done. And I wanted to find a way to do that and see kind of like how the mechanics of adapting cosmic horror to the screen would work. And that just happened, or this, I guess, just happened to be the idea that I had for how to do that. Obviously, it's very different from what it was back then, but I was always really visually inspired because I watched way more movies than I've read. Like I was really into Edgar Wright and like the fast movement visual storytelling and Bong Joon-ho and Memories of Murder is one of my favorite movies. But then the short film that my dad was talking about was right when I got into Martin McDonagh, which was a huge inspiration for my parents when they were starting up their theater company. He was kind of the more riskier plays that you could put on that involve a lot more violence and swearing that the older people might not enjoy.
And I was pregnant with you when we did Martin McDonagh.
Yeah.
Oh, is that when it was?
Yeah,
Yep.
you were on stage.
Yeah, with Cripple of Inishmaan.
Whether you know it
That's
or not.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
So,
I didn't know
so
it
you
was
come by
Cripple
it
of
honestly. Yeah, it was.
that is so beautiful.
That's cool.
They had to keep letting my costume out.
Yeah. It was a different size for the end of that run than it was the beginning. Yeah.
But Martin McDonagh is just like very crackly, fast dialogue that it can get very emotional and knows when to be silent. And that was something I always really admired.
I love that. So just as a quick kind of before my next question, because it kind of dives into this, are there any warnings you would put out there as far as maybe somebody who like trigger warnings?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course I knew this. I just wanted to make sure to ask.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great. We thank you. And we even said like when we put a little a sample out there for our patrons so far and things like that, and when we put the e-arcs out, we always said like this kind of starts the prologue kind of starts with a character that is quite potty mouthed.
Yes, I was so surprised. I was like, hell yeah, dude! Somebody over there cusses just like I do.
It is John.
Yeah. Here's what happens.
Just
right.
somebody in here calls somebody in the chat calls John the Mr. Rogers of Booktube.
Yeah.
And I was just like, guys, he's capable.
Here's the thing. You live 10 years in LA and you're standing next to some people that are producing a show or, play or whatever, and they get their funding pulled and you're there in the room and you hear how they react and what they say. That's what's happening in the prologue. Someone's getting their funding pulled. And I've been in that room. I've been part of that. So I know what gets said.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we channeled and where we went. And I think it was kind of shocking for some people.
Well, I think that it comes from a special place, and it's not a negative thing. It's a thing that's like, for me, it was like a 10 out of 10 positive because I'm the same way. In fact, I censor myself a lot on YouTube just because, well, I don't think everybody would enjoy it as much just because I'm a pretty big potty mouth.
Yeah.
But I enjoy it in the book, especially where I talk about this a lot, where in a novel or whatever, a piece of writing that I'm reading, if there's language or violence or some other trigger warning type of situation going on that happens only for shock value, I get uninterested. And it fit perfect for the scene. It totally belonged there, but it was something that I was like, all right, let's go. 100% love that. But I did want to make sure that anybody that's here and wants to know more about it, that they do know
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because we were really afraid. When things started popping up, like Zach was saying he was the one calling him Mr. Rogers, and it kind of became a thing that, like, my dad's the Mr. Rogers at Booktube. And around the point where that started happening, we all looked at each other and went, oh no, this could go really badly.
But it does fit the character. That's what, I've been in that room.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You're right. It does.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
100%. So again, I believe that it all belongs there. And in fact, I believe that character is better portrayed after the first, or the prelude.
Prologue. Yeah.
Prologue. I said prelude.
Right.
And it's, like I said, painted better
Yeah.
for having that in there. So wonderful.
Yeah. If you're squeamish about racism, he's a racist,
that too,
and that's a real big nod to Lovecraft. Because Lovecraft had a lot of racism, and he was not a very enlightened dude.
Yeah,
and that's well known. So we wanted Manny to be racist, is kind of like a jumping off point. Like,
because we're jumping off from that work,
right,
and moving forward.
We wanted him to be racist, and I think there's a line in the prologue that John, I think at the very last minute, he goes like, "Babe, I think you need to cut this line." And I said, "I'm standing by this line."
I think I know the one.
Yeah.
Does it have to do with the bag?
What?
Does it have to do with the bag?
No.
Oh, okay. Then
it has to do. It's a racist. It's a racist.
Oh, yes, I do know. Okay, you're talking about this aspect still. Okay.
Yeah, yes. It's a slur, and I was like, I'm not going to cut it, because I actually heard somebody say that in my youth, and it's like, it needs to be out there, because this is the kind of guy we're dealing with. And I think a lot of people who've responded well to Manny, and if they have responded poorly to Manny, yeah, I was swearing. If they've responded poorly to Manny, I haven't had the chance to talk to them yet, and I'm sure I will. But I just think that it's like we shy away from that kind of cancel culturally thing where you're like, well, we don't want to say this because it's not very woke or it's not very progressive. And I understand a lot of people are really, swimming upstream against some real hatred right now. And we don't want to add to that. And I get that. I really do. But I was really fighting that, Jacob was just like, I don't think we should put that word in print. I don't think we should do that. And I was like, we should, because we need to know what happens karmically to people who do this.
Yeah.
I do agree with that. I want to add, like, I did, say maybe we shouldn't put that in print, but Dad and I were having a conversation maybe just like a few weeks ago about, like, if we remove a lot of the things that Manny says.
Thank you, Michael.
Does it remain? Oh, wow. Thank you, Michael. That's awesome.
Does
it remain the same book? And we decided I don't think it does, because I don't know how far you are in the book.
60% exactly. I stopped right at 60%, like 61%.
So then you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. We wanted to explore different cultures and lots of different walks of life. And to do that, almost talking about, like, something that Lovecraft never did, like the way that cosmic horror would affect different people around the world. It felt really off to not have the same representation of every walk of life, which is the people that would be racist and terrible.
So based on my experience, and kind of as an addition to Amy's talking about, like, as far as there's in modern society, the wokeism type stuff, I think that if you have a story and a character that is a way that you created it, like, no apologies, no, like, you know what I mean? I think that you did that, and hearing from you, I know that you did that, and that just leads to more authenticity. And I felt that, like, it truly is translated. It's not like, for instance, I'll use Stephen King. Stephen King uses a lot of racist
Yes.
type language.
Yeah.
And I don't look at him and say, that racist piece of garbage. You know what I mean?
Right.
He portrays a character.
Right. But now, like, especially if you're a new author and nobody really knows you, it's like, do they know the Mintons? Are they really racist? And they look at us and they might look at the work and say something like that. And like, you have to be brave and push through that and let the work stand for itself and try to divorce yourself, your feelings.
From the character.
Slay has
That's
it
exactly right.
Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
Dude, I seen your comment and I'm so glad that you said that. Slay puts it perfectly.
Yeah.
There's a difference between highlighting something and glorifying something. Depiction is not endorsement. My man with the
Slay is a lover of Manny DiMartini.
Slay does love Manny DiMartini.
Hey, I get it. I do.
Yeah.
I think exactly what you were talking about, Mom, was like where part of the fear was coming from originally for me. It was that there is an order to the way that we introduce people in the series, which is like Manny DiMartini is the first character that you come across. Mm-hmm. So people could easily read that character first and go, oh, I know what these people believe. Close the book. And then,
we did make that more difficult for ourselves by starting with him. Yeah.
Tell me if any one of you disagree or agree with me, but I've never read a book, even if it's like, I've read a lot of debut books, like, and whatever the content in that novel is, it's like I've never put that with the artist. I've never done it, not even like thinking about it. In fact, it took somebody asking me that question. Like, have you ever
agree with that? I try and do that.
No, I do that. I do that too. But as an artist, and it's your first work, and you're stepping foot in the world, and the first thing you throw out there is that
like page
dude.
1.
You have to be like,
is this tyrant?
Am I making the right decision?
No, I feel like I would have the exact same.
Am I making the right decision?
Super ego.
And then there are people who were beta readers who said, "Are you making the right decision?"
We had early readers going, maybe page 1 is not.
It's not the time to whip out the racial slurs. Maybe not. And we're like, well, that's where he is. That's where we start. That's what Lovecraft was. That's the root of it, and that's where we're going.
Yeah.
On my channel, I really try to be and talk about and conversate about authenticity and authentic, whether it's me talking about reading it or the author talking about writing it. What we just did and talked about, that aspect of your novel, is gold, because there's going to be so many people in this world that go to write a novel and portray a character, including myself, that come to that fork in the road like you guys did, and talking through it the way you just did, especially on my channel just now, and how you did, at your home when you were writing it. That's so important to talk about, man. Thank you.
And it's definitely like, and I just want to reemphasize, like, it's something like when I read it and I'm just like, oh, this isn't, like, I don't think that this person is racist. I think they're portraying, and that's what an artist should do. But when you're new at it, when you're like, this is our first book, we want to be like,
we would get along, brother.
Oh, you would get along with Slay based on that intro. I could tell you that.
Hell yeah.
but there's just like, wow, you really have to be an artist now. You have to put on your big boy shorts, and you've got to do it.
Yeah.
Natalie, by the way, that's a great insight. I did not mean, if there's a lag, and I did not mean to interrupt you, Amy.
No. I was done. I was wandering around with my words.
The thing that struck me right there is like,
love you, Nat.
Yeah, I love you, Nat. Matt, when you're talking about, sitting around the table, creating it and doing it. And it's like when you said early on in our theater days, we made so many mistakes. It's like, one of the things I think was our strengths when we were all around the table looking at stuff like this was nobody would let anybody else get away with anything. If we thought something wasn't working or a character wasn't authentic, or I don't think they would do that, or that motivation doesn't work, or that they wouldn't say that. One or the other would call the other one out, and we'd work on it more or harder. And I think we worked on that beginning a lot.
Yeah.
That way, because we all kind of had made enough mistakes to see when it was time to call somebody else on something that we thought wasn't quite ready. So I think that was like kind of ties in from what you're talking about in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do and speaks to the fact that you all are invested, and naturally there's love for one another, and you don't want to see each other fail, and you want what you do create to be good. And I think that comes with that foundation. Like, I'm not going to let you slip on anything. And I don't necessarily even have to ask you, because I know you won't let me slip on anything. That is a nice place to be. And I like to hear that.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean it's always easy, right? But I know that when my dad tells me I'm being a dipshit, like in 5 years, I'm gonna be like, you know what? You were right.
You were right. Yeah. Sometimes it takes 5 years.
It takes 5 years. Yeah. Sometimes a lot longer.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love that. The inspirations were, what am I trying to say here? They were delightfully things that I've experienced. I thought that I was going to hear, as I, only being a reader for 5 or 6 years, I hear a lot of authors I haven't read a lot of or never even heard of. I've read a lot of Stephen King now. Funny, Amy, I was going to tell you, my very first Stephen King novel was Fairy Tale. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's one of the most recent ones.
I loved it. I loved Fairy Tale. But that's why I got into his horror, which people have like, dude, you're weird for starting there. It's like, well, it was just as natural as it could be.
Just where you started. Yeah.
But since then, I've gotten experience with his other stuff, and a lot of that translates, and I'm inspired by it, just like you guys.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as themes, what are some themes you guys would say that you dove? Is it dove or dived?
Dove, I think.
Dove. Okay. I thought I'm just like over here talking nonsensical BS. Anyway, what are some themes that you would say are evident in the novel?
Power struggle between science and faith, I would say, is a really big one for this first book.
Oh, yeah.
And how much of a hold each one has over the global population, and for better or worse what effects it can have, I would say is maybe the central theme of book one. Would you agree with that, Mom?
Yes, and how humanity can mess things up for themselves. I mean, I don't want to go too much into why that is, but we are more than capable. Like, we don't need an alien invasion to tear ourselves apart. We can do that just fine by ourselves.
Yeah.
So that
was a biggie. That's
a big one.
Yeah.
Humanity shooting itself in the foot.
Ooh,
that's basically power struggle. And I mean, science and faith, we were that tension's going to last throughout the series. And the way we had mapped it, it was just like, when is science going to have the upper hand? When is faith going to have the upper hand? How does global government and military have an upper hand? And so all of these power sources are struggling, and how when this one's on top, the other ones are going to be working to build themselves up. And so all of this is going to be, they're just going to be these pillars knocking each other down and bringing each other up. Yeah.
None of this is like spoilers, by the way. It's just like traditional balance between light and dark kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't heard a single spoiler, at least from where I'm at. It's like, just, I was going to comment on what you said, Amy, about the struggle of faith or humanity or whatever that greater power is that isn't faith related, in that balance. And from my point of view, in my experience, I think that no matter what anybody's belief is, whether you're a faith person or you live in faith, you do a lot of whatever it may be, or if that's not a part of your life, there still is that struggle within us all. And I think it spoke to me in a way that is personal for the reasons I made it personal. Right.
Yeah. Right.
Because me personally, I do have a higher power, but I feel like the next guy that reads this novel is going to have a very, very similar experience, even if they don't come from the same foundation I do.
Correct.
So I think it will translate very well.
Oh, I'm really happy to hear that,
because
as a family, we're we're not really engaged in religion as an institutional. We're we're spiritual, but not into the institutional aspect of it. So we do enjoy stepping outside of that and looking at what the positives and negatives of all of this could look like. And not to say that we're qualified, that makes us any more qualified than anybody else, because like Christopher Rocchio is doing some pretty brilliant things with with Catholicism and his theories and what, but it's just the aspect we chose to go with was just like how is spirituality working and how is institutional religion like undermining that.
Yeah,
I am coming just between you and us, I come from a very, very similar spot. So having that experience and then also experiencing what I have 61% of the novel. So, having a wonderful experience and I feel like it's going to translate so well. I'm just excited too. Like, I love reading books as like arcs, and John, maybe you can relate with this. But there's only one sucky part about it. It's that you can't just like scream about everything, right? So that is the fun and the other part of this. Janie Wirtz did have a wonderful comment up here. I threw it up for a second. Here we go. Manny's flaws were thrown into balance by the characters around him. Oh, I think that I never thought about that.
Yeah,
that is true.
I think that's completely true.
Yeah,
I love that, Janie. And the disgust of the characters surrounding Manny grounded the depiction. Yeah, I think that you're hitting that right on the nose.
He's not a man that anybody likes.
Right. And if anybody thinks we're getting into spoilers by talking about Manny, we are on page 1.
Yeah. Exactly. literally, this is page 1.
This is page 1.
Yeah.
And my favorite characters sometimes are the hero. 98% of the time it's the villain or the guy that I'm like,
you gotta have someone you love to hate. Yeah.
Steaming pile of dung. That is usually my favorite character. So
I can tell who your favorite character is going to be when this is over.
Yeah.
As soon as it's 100%, I'm messaging you guys instantly.
Yeah. No, you got to hit us up right away because you got.
We're all thinking the same
a good
thing.
one here at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, so excited. See, this is what I was saying beforehand. Getting that insight about the inspirations and this is so fun. And I also like that you threw. You were talking about Rocchio's themes too. Because if there's one thing John and Jacob and I and Amy, I feel like too, that you guys like about Rocchio, I do too. I'm a huge fan, kind of a new fan, although he hasn't been around for very long, but he is an ambitious man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got the works out. And hey, did you see the cover?
Yeah.
The other day? Yeah. Get out of here. That's so crazy. Anyway.
Gorgeous.
I love that Rocchio started so young.
Yeah.
And that he was so good. So good, so young, so smart, and I'm just so pleased for him. Fellow North Carolinian, I'm really pleased.
Yeah,
for him.
he's in Raleigh, right? Or Raleigh?
Raleigh, yeah.
Raleigh. That's cool. Man, yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited for him for what's to come because he's a very brilliant guy. So as far as process goes, of course, this is always one of those questions we ask, right, John? It's like, your guys' process. I know that you were doing a lot of index cards at the table, swapping ideas.
Yeah,
but as
Jacob
far as
loves index cards.
Jacob loves index cards.
Hey, my wife would call BS, but she'd be like, bullshit. You never use sticky notes. But if I was writing a novel, sticky notes or index cards
best.
or the old school Rolodexers, something like that.
They're the best.
Like how much he loves.
Yeah.
People thought I was insane when I went to college because, like, if you went into my apartment bedroom, like, right before I graduated, I used to just, like, at night would just write things on note cards and tape it to the wall. Like my walls were covered in index cards. I looked like a crazy person.
Yeah.
It helped so much.
Yeah.
Any kind or sign of organization to me, and like putting a thought down in concrete on the paper, I can totally subscribe to that, and I need to put into my own life because thoughts come in and they're not retaining at all. So writing those down would be very beneficial. But as far as the writing, the actual typing, how would you do that? Was the story concrete between the three of you? How did that happen?
It kind of changed. I mean, when we first started writing it, I didn't have a job. So it for a while was really like when we were writing what is now book 3. My mom and I had a desk next to each other. My dad would go to work, and my mom and I would basically clock in for work and sit next to each other and write for 4 to 5 hours and then talk about it. And we did that for many months. And then I got a job, so it kind of had to change. But, oh man, how does it work now? I don't even know how to explain how we do it now.
Yeah. Well, the first thing we do when we're talking about scenes or in characters when we invent is we cast them so that we all know physically who we're talking about. Sometimes we'll do like, we want a young Winona Ryder with this voice, and we, so everybody knows the vibe of the character. So we cast it. And then we have cloud computing is your friend. Yeah. so we have some of these like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or some like a Dropbox, and we would type up documents and scenes and drop them into these folders and share them. And I would let Jacob know, it's like there's a new file in our folder online. You would go in there and read it, and I would have to print them out for
I like things printed out.
Yeah, I would have to. We still use a printer and paper
every day. I do.
Yeah. So
he doesn't even own a laptop.
I don't have a computer.
No. Yeah.
I have a desktop. That's it.
Yeah. So So cloud computing, index cards, printing out, like it's just everywhere, and we would just have these versions everywhere floating around, and then like the 2 times that we would like lose a file, it was like, oh, you typed this scene and it's really brilliant and yay, we love it, and it was it's gone. It's missing from Dropbox, it's missing from OneDrive, it's missing from Google Drive, and so we're diving into the trash can for it because John made us print it out. Like
that's how Misery came to life. It was in the trash first.
Yeah.
I think we all work so differently. I remember there are times that Jacob thinks so visually. There'll be a scene that he really sees, like he sees how he would shoot it as a filmmaker. Yeah. And he would sit down and he would show like, here's some clips of something that's kind of like it. And then I'm going to storyboard it for you and have a shot list of exactly how I would set it up and shoot it. And then Amy, being a writer, would take that and it's like, okay, well, I can start to use this as a template and turn it into prose. And then she would get that to us. And then we go, oh, I love this. This works. Can we change this a little bit or do this? And then, we would see another draft, or maybe Amy would be writing something that I just don't hear this character voice. And it's like, you know what, I think, give me a couple minutes. And I would go pace around the room and I'd come back and I'd say, okay, I got it. I'm going to improv it for you. Just record it. Mm-hmm. And she would turn on a recorder and I would just, like, honestly, that's a lot of how the prologue came to be.
I was about to say, a lot of those horrible things that Manny is saying, somewhere there is a voice memo file.
Wow. That is very, I want to say, first, incredible. It makes a lot of sense. But second, something from a unique point of view, because, well, first, I don't think I know of 3 people who get that opportunity as a family to write a book. I think that's extremely unique. And then coming together, Jacob as a visual guy, Amy as a prose or literature based aspect, right? Point of view, from schooling and influences and inspirations. And then John from your theater, of course, Amy to the theater, in your experience with that, your love for books and literature too. If there's other credits I'm not giving you, I don't know of them. Did you go to school for writing? I'm not sure.
She did.
You, John.
Oh, you didn't.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I didn't want to leave it out. But that is a very unique collaboration in which a final product, it doesn't capture, what am I trying to say? It captures the story as if it wasn't as, because the creation of which sounds chaotic to me.
Yeah.
Kind of is.
Coming
Yeah.
together from different aspects, different backgrounds, different similar inspirations, and having this final product to me, that is a huge accomplishment. And I think that it kind of plays back on what I always say too, is the writing process is always so individual, especially in this case. I think that is so cool how you guys did it. And bringing all those things together, that final product is just that much better for it.
I mean, I think we have said, like, when we end up with something, it's like, especially the scenes we really like that are our favorites, it's like we can all see the other people in it.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to throw up something. Slade came in with some game tonight. For a cosmic horror novel.
Slay's chugging the monster drinks tonight.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Monster Slay.
Oh, gosh. You two need to get a room.
My man. So for a cosmic horror novel, discovery will make you reflect on life and connections so deeply that even the most seasoned existentialist might blush. I like it.
Love it.
Put that on,
I'll take that.
It's nice.
Right in the stone.
Slay, get famous so we can use that as a blurb.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
Quickly.
Well, I've said for years, Amy is my favorite writer in the world. So we brought in what we could bring in, but I think a lot of it went through like a lens.
Absolutely.
That my favorite writer in the world. So it was.
He's
I
being
think
nice.
that's the ace in up our
He's
sleeve.
not being nice.
He's being nice.
Well, I think that what's true for John is true for all of us that do something in the creative part of our brain as men, right? We have to have those other pieces to make us whole. And I see two of them along with John.
And you, sort of. Huh? I love you.
Love it. I was trying to find a comment up here. Let me find it. It was a good one. It was a wonderful question here. Maybe I can. Oh, hold on. There we go. That's you, Jacob. I know.
Yeah.
But that kind of plays into my next question. Was it something that you would say that? Well, we've kind of went over it, but was it there at any point an outline, as far as like the actual writing? Did you put a consolidated version? I guess that's kind of what I'm asking.
Dozens of times.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have no idea how many outlines we made.
Jacob is way more planny than I am. So like
God, I don't know about that.
Oh
no, she has learned to get more planny, but I love the outlines.
Yeah, like I've embraced the planning. I have.
The cool thing, like there's so much outlining, so many plannings, there's so many of them, but still, when she will sit down to write something, and then it's like, I don't know, this voice just came in my head. Now we have this character. I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
that's
both, awesome.
They would both look at me just like, what? And it was like, yeah, this person showed up and has something to say, and they're just, what are we gonna do with it? I was like, I don't know. You got to figure it out though, because this is in here now.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I don't know. It just showed up. Like I have so much of that feeling that like when you as a human like plug yourself into the collective consciousness, like the stories will kind of dictate to you, but you just kind of like gotta get in the groove, and you can just listen to the this is sounding so like I use like crystals and healing.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I don't like, but it's true, Jake. I mean, you know, it's true. Like when you plug yourself into the collective consciousness of storytelling, these characters will talk to you, and it's like taking notes when it's working.
Yeah,
right.
when it's working
Right. And then afterwards, you got to like hone things and file them down and buff it. But like if you get in the groove, you can listen to some pretty amazing voices, and it's not just the schizophrenia talking.
Oh no!
But the weird part is, we had so many outlines because the book works. I'm sure, like Matthew, you've seen, like the book works. There's a lot of different threads that are close coming together. Yeah. So it's like that. You all have to have like dominoes fall in a certain order to get to where you're going. So it all has to be planned. So like when a different character just like, I don't know, just showed up, just started talking to me. It's like
it wrecks everything.
The whole outline.
Is it like one of those moments where you're like, hold on, how did this? What happened? Why is this character here?
Well, because we would have like, all right, cool, we've got our outline. And then my mom would come out and be like, I don't know who this character is, but they belong in the book. We're like, well, we have to throw that last outline out the window. And then that changes this world event because this character is here now. So now we have to do a third outline. And
Look, you guys, you know that everybody who just popped in are just like, they're very beloved right now.
Yes. I mean, without a doubt. I think that's why it's like we look at this and go, none of the one of us could have done it.
No.
But, like,
they just
you would have got way closer than, I think, but because you know how to write. But it's like,
yeah.
Because you know how to write.
I don't know what I'm doing.
One of the things that I've yet to experience, I'm highly looking forward to, is what I think you're saying. And it's kind of like, and correct me if this isn't the right word, but like a flow state almost. Where
that's exactly it.
Where the characters are going to dictate to you when they come in the story what the story is. And I think that is as unique as that sounds. And it is unique, but that experience has been told to me by so many people that first I'm envious, but there's something to that. I don't know what I mean by that, but I know what I mean by that. There's something to that when you're reading.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And sometimes as a writer, you have to do the kind of woo-woo things. You got to, like, there are times when I'm just really desperate. And I know Jacob is desperate. And John will just, like, I'll cry. And I'll be like, I can't get this. I don't understand. I'm frustrated. And and what happens is, like, I just do the thing that, like, I just go, when I go to bed, I just ask the universe for it.
What's going to come up?
Yeah.
And it usually takes the universe is really good. It delivers in about 48 hours. And I never know what's going to happen. And like, sometimes it's like in the middle of the night and I'm just like, hey. Yeah. And then, like, you never know. It could be mowing the lawn. I could be at yoga. You don't know.
It inserts itself where proper.
It shows up. Yeah. So, but you have to ask.
Yeah.
You have to ask.
I like that.
Yeah. You have to be like, I need this. Thank you very much. And I will now think about something else. You have to completely let it go.
Yeah.
Ooh, and that's hard too.
Yeah. But that's part of the game. It's like, you gotta completely, all right, and trust it. And back away from it. Yeah.
And rewrite the outline.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
And I truly, and just want to say, reiterate it again, I love that you're sharing these kind of personal process aspects, because that is the bits of gold, I like to say, that I in this community loves to hear. Natalie, I love that comment. I love how thoughtful the whole process. That is the perfect word, Natalie. Thank you. Thoughtful. That's what I would characterize this interview or discussion overall. Thoughtful. The whole process was, and the teamwork involved. 3 great minds contributing their skills. There we go.
Thank you, Natalie.
Janny wants to know who did the dishes.
John.
Ooh. Yeah, I always do the dishes.
Jacob's quick on the draw too. Like, man, he sees those comments before I can even like consider it.
Yeah.
It's the young, man. It's the young kids. They're programmed.
Yeah.
I always did the dishes, but Amy cooked a lot. Amy would cook, I would clean.
Hey,
there's a definite division of labor.
I love that. I love that. I did the dishes today myself, so look at that. Let's see here, Curran. I don't know what that was. Sometimes I pick on things that totally out of context. So Amy is the pantser. I'm guessing that's what you meant. Jacob
that
the
means
planer,
you
and John
used to
is
call
the
it
in
in
between.
school like the mud dauber. You just like put different
Yep.
stuff until you see a story.
Yep.
You just fly by the seat of your pants.
Well, my dad is not really in between. We always refer to him as the macro when when there's like something's not feeling right. There's some like world building thing that's causing this event to not work. Just something's not working correctly. We call him, or he's there, and we ask him. And he goes, "Okay, so," and that's when his feet start leaving the ground. He's like, "So," like we always joke. My mom and dad were writing a book on their own while I was in college. I had nothing to do with. And they had, I can't remember what it was about. It was about like it was like medieval times, and it was like very cultural, and there was like some culty stuff going on. And apparently my dad came in one day, was like, "So there's this woman that lives on the moon. Her name is Darlene." And then like I think it was like a week later that my mom had to tell him, "I'm not writing this book with you. I can't."
No, that's the Darlene. Like Darlene's one of those names, like you don't fuck with Darlene,
Dude, it wasn't even Darlene. It was Darlene.
It was Darlene.
You definitely don't mess with her.
Darlene.
I was only quasi serious.
You were very serious.
You were
we had
entirely
a very
serious.
Big fight.
I
actually our fight
totally
was
worked.
so loud that our neighbor had to get in the ball because we were in the backyard that morning, and you were just like, it was medieval times, baby. And you came up with this like there was Darlene, and she's in a helmet and she's on the moon. I was like, what the hell is wrong with
It was an idea like to that degree.
I was so mad.
I was about to say, when I was in college and like, I don't know what this 5-season arc, you called me with an idea to the same degree of Darlene lives on the moon.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that.
I like called and I said, okay, what if season one ended with this? I'm saying season ended with this, and then we went to this, and this, and Jacob's like, that's
stupid.
Yeah, that makes no.
Okay. That's why we call John in the macro, because like what he sees is like he's on an airplane, a commercial liner way up here. And like there were times in the early days and when Jacob was still living in the house where we were just like, are we stuck? Do we just write ourselves in the corner? And Jacob just like look at the paper, and I can see like the sweat forming on his face. Like, no wait, I think we can get it. Just like don't call him yet. And he would just go, all right, call him. Like it would just be this. So as soon as we called, we were like, okay, this is the problem, and he would just solve it like that. And Jacob's like, I don't know why we don't call him earlier. I was like, because he's just always right, and it's so frustrating.
Well, I think that John probably comes to the
Darlene.
No, you are not right about that. Sorry.
It comes to that point where maybe, well, obviously you want his kind of wisdom about it. And as someone who has probably ventured a lot of the same things as far as your schooling and the writing that went involved with that, along with being a literature lover, has a very unique and knowledgeable aspect in things that he can help with. I think that's a point of wisdom.
And I don't know diddly about Lovecraft. I would just be like, okay, we want a character to sort of do this. John's like, this is who you want. This is the monster being. And I was like, okay, I need the short story or the wherever where that appears, and I would read it and I'd be like, oh, this will work. This is good.
Now, is that a fun place to be, John? Like, is that something you enjoyed? It sounds like, you're floating, right?
That's the best. Yeah, it's the best because they would come up with such, it was right there. I mean, usually when they were stuck, it would be like, if this it was always about the dominoes falling. If this happens, then this doesn't make sense anymore. We're in a conundrum. We're in a corner because it's like, no, it works because of this. And it's like I had an understanding of the lore because I had read so much of it that I could subvert it or bend it or twist it just enough, reform it around this. If we change it just enough to do this, then we're golden. And it's like that was kind of my job.
Yep.
I love that. That's so cool. And especially like knowing what I do know about you guys now, it's like I can totally like picture that scene in my head. That's very cool. And by the way, chat's needing the standalone of Darlene.
Darlene
Look,
is
it's
not coming
Novella.
out
Darlene.
anytime.
It's like Darlene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Darlene is not going to be in the novella.
I'm telling you.
Let me know if I say this
Darlene
right.
is-
Is it Kaisi?
It's Keys.
No.
Keys.
Keezy. Okay, I love
No,
that.
it's just Keys, like your
Keys in your
Oh,
pocket.
Keys.
Yeah, I've
I love
already
that.
made that. I've already made my mistake. I think I've called him Keezy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do. I love that. It's very
He's laughing
unique.
at me right now. I did it.
Love that. And they're serious about Darlene over here. Here Keys says Lonesome Darlene.
Darlene.
No,
Not Lonesome Dove, right? We could get
everybody
into
like this
more
is
on the
just
moon.
making me cringe. Like you won't.
I can't believe we brought up Darlene.
I can't believe Darlene came out. I can't
Love
believe
it.
Darlene came out.
So how when you I know right about the same time you started your channel, John, Talking Story, was similar time than when I started mine.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
and was it before starting this channel that you guys had this idea and was writing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
was but
Yeah, the channel was before.
no.
The book was
No,
No,
you guys were writing.
we were
on this
writing.
before.
We were writing before. We were at, but I don't know if we were really that serious. I
Yeah,
don't know if
okay.
we really thought it would go anywhere.
Yeah, for a long time it was.
We
a
were just
family
having fun.
exercise
We were
that we
just
were
having
just
fun.
having a good time with.
Yeah.
And then the channel was something entirely different that
Yeah, it
Jacob
was
kind of
separate.
did for me as a gift
Yeah.
to meet people like you that read. That I missed people.
Well, you were going to get back into theater
Mhm.
before, like we had a director's meeting in our house for the theater company, kind of like a couple blocks away, and you were going to direct a show, a
Mhm.
musical, even,
Yeah.
and the Full Monty, right?
Yeah.
You were going to direct
I
that,
was going to direct.
and then you were looking at another. Like he was really going to get back into it, and then the pandemic hit, like,
Oh yeah.
and then like right
and all
away,
that shut down.
like right away, everything shut down, and the answer to that for Jacob was just like, all right, we'll make you a little stage in your home, and here's your studio, and like that's what they
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
for John to be able to perform and
you
get
know,
his
you miss your
performing
friends
yayas
from
out.
when you had a comic shop to talk
Yeah.
about story and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
we'll meet. You can meet new friends.
Yeah.
So this was like his gift to me.
Wow. So yeah, man, I can totally see, I have a similar or what I would consider or expect to be a similar feeling. Like I miss Friday Night Lights, playing football, and I can just imagine, I can't necessarily do that anymore. But if it was something that I could do at this age, something like theater or acting or writing or what have it, that having that itch to go back into what inspires you and what you love to do, that's a gift, man. And I didn't know that was kind of the reason you started your channel in particular. And that is very, very inspiring. I think that's very cool.
Oh, it was the best gift. I mean, it's been life changing. Like like the people you meet and the way it goes, and it's like the community. It's been truly life changing, and I don't think
We did not
Jacob
expect this.
or I had any idea.
Yeah.
We thought, oh, cool. If we meet a couple of people I can talk about books with and stuff, that'll be great. I would love that.
When John was just like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I don't even think I looked up from my reading. I was like, you go, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah. You go, baby.
But it is one of those things where I feel like, and tell me if I'm wrong, John, it scratches that creative outlet itch in a way, because not necessarily, I mean, we can be creative for video and what people see on video, and Jacob, you do that so well and are a perfect example of that. But it also allows you to, there's a whole other side that people don't see. People don't watch me reading, right? We get to talk about it, which is fun.
That's it.
So there's
That's
two
it.
creative aspects.
That's it. I think back to that meeting we had in our house with all the directors that were going to direct every show for the season, and we were hanging out and we were talking about the stories.
We had
and the
little hors
scripts.
d'oeuvres.
Yeah,
we
were talking, and that took me back because that's what we do. That's what I would do when I have my comic shop. I would talk about
Talk about
stories
the
that
art.
came out this
Yeah.
week when we were in a theater company after the show. you can't go home. You're wired. You go out and you talk about what worked, what didn't work, what's coming next, what stories can we tell, how is this going to impact the audience, how can it maybe change us, how can it maybe change our company, how can we maybe leave a mark on that theater timeline that we're a part of, and that's what I missed. I missed having that type of talk about story, right? That I had always done in theater or in my comic shop or anywhere. And to me, that's what this gives me. I get to meet you and everyone in the community, and we get to talk about these stories that hit us and change us and make us see the world in a different way, right? Like that's the part that I missed.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It becomes so much more than just John and Jacob and Amy and talking story, and we talk about books. That is an aspect that I truly will treasure knowing about you guys is that yearning you had for what you had experienced with your theater productions and those people and what they brought to your life, and then bringing this, and now something is even more so has come out of this. We're here tonight in the book. So just very happy that not only that I got to experience like the ins and the outs and kind of what happened before in your guys' life and what brought you together, but also getting to read the product of that and then gaining that insight with you tonight, man. It's been truly amazing. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And it had to have been a hard thing to keep secret.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a very hard thing to keep secret.
John's like, I said it like 90 times.
We didn't want anybody to think that, because it wasn't true that
like
the book
for the longest time we didn't know if
we didn't know what we were going to do with it.
Yeah.
We didn't want to say, oh, we're doing this to put a book out, which was not true. They were two separate things that came together really nicely. We're getting a taste of the writing sessions right here, except for the fighting. Like, well, we didn't fight very much, but we did.
We had our moments.
We had moments. Yeah.
No, man, he's not doing that. He's doing this.
That's exact. Look, when you're passionate and when you care, you stake out territory for ideas and different things, and it's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah. So Booktube, that was a separate accident.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
Definitely.
Those are the finest things, though, right? The things that happen by accident.
Everything about.
I mean, I have 4 kids.
Channel.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But everything.
We wouldn't have met Janny. We wouldn't have.
Like, I think about like our life before this. It's just and how I got sucked into it. I don't know how I got here.
Yeah.
Like, I would sit here and just like, I have no idea why people would want to hear what I said, but then everybody was so great. And then when we started the Discord, it was like, I don't know what this is. And I just started to meet people and just like, I know these people here, in the chat. And
doesn't it become almost like, what's the feeling? A warm
like my
welcome
family.
That's repetitive kind of.
Yeah. It's like, I need to check in with my people.
Yes. And I love that aspect of it too. Lucas, I think he's talking about John's beard.
No,
I
it's
doubt
not.
that.
I don't think so. I think we know whose beard
doubt that.
they're talking
I
about.
appreciate that, Lucas. And I love what he said right here. A family that writes together, they fight together too.
Yeah.
Love it. So how long in total would you say from the beginning where you're like, you know what, we're doing this, to when you sent, I would say, Esme the review copy? Because I'm guessing she was one of the first, which is absolutely the right decision. She's a gangster.
Yeah.
I think Janny was one of the first, wasn't she?
Okay, Janny.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Janny got a draft that she
was
told us
horrible.
to rewrite.
Used to help us.
We got to the point where when we started really reorganizing the order that we were writing in, like we wrote we wrote book 3. We went back and wrote book 1 and 2, and then we stopped. Like when we had to start over the second time, I think we kind of looked at each other and said, we better be doing something with this if we're going to put all this work into it.
Sure.
And I think at that point we started driving towards a finish line.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
That I think when we started to really like, we're going to do this again. We're going to start over again. We're going to write book 1, and it's going to go from A to Z. And this is, this is how we're going to frame it. This is why it's going to be this way. These are all of our themes. This is, the outline, and go. Like, that's where I think we started, like, hey, I think afterwards we'll start sending it out to people and see what they think. But before that, we weren't sending it out. We weren't really talking about it, because we were just basically making each other laugh and putting Jacob through a master's in writing during the pandemic. And that's all we were doing.
Year? Is that what you said?
Oh, like how long?
Yeah, like about a year.
I mean, we started writing it in November of 2021. Was like when we first started.
Yeah.
And that was like what is now book 3. Like that's when we first started. But when did we start, like, what the book is now?
February of
24.
Thinking about
when
about
a year ago.
Yeah.
It was it's more than that. This when my stepmother passed. I mean,
so
it
2
was
years ago.
Yeah, so it was when that happened, I think, just like those life events that kind of like shake you. And it's like, and her passing kind of like shook my whole family. That and we just really just made everything different. That we just kind of looked at each other and said, like, are we going to do this? Are we going to do it for her? Are we going to do it because she wanted it done? Are we going to do it because we want it done? Like, it was like everything just got reordered, and we got we just got shaken up. And we said, and we did, I think after that, like, our drive started happening pretty intensely.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's like you get you nothing like a little mortality to kind of slap you around a little bit, and what's real and what's not. And we're just like, we have something real here. We want to try it.
It does give you a fresh perspective into, wow, how delicate is life, right?
It's a delicate, and it's like, I think, like, in that kind of woo-woo way, it's just like, she's still a part of things, but like, I think she would want it done, and she would want us to reach our full potential. And it's like, this is something she would want us to do. So we were very much just like, all right, then let's make it happen. It was a bit at the beginning for me, like of that drive, of that different kind of working. It was a bit of working through some grief by applying yourself, and I think it was different for the guys, because because that was sort of, I'd been around her since I was a kid, so they came in a little later in the process, but but it did shake the whole family. So we knew that we had to reapply ourselves to something. Yeah, that's what we did. Yeah.
To have that just kind of. Go ahead.
I think just the time of it was also a little odd, because even though we weren't like overly serious about it, it was something that we were working on every day for like a year and a half, or however long it was. And then that happened, and that was really the only time since starting that we took a break for like a month or 2 months or something while everybody grieved. And I think being away from it felt uncanny. Yeah. And then when 2 months had passed, and we all kind of started to look at each other like, we're picking this back up, right? We got to get back to this.
It became like tell me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like it became a moment that we kind of all feel when something like that happens in our life, whether it be a passing or a brand new, I don't know, something important, where you reconsider the importance and kind of inventory things, and what a crucial moment that was for this book.
Yeah. No, it absolutely was. Yeah.
Incredible to hear, and even more so for you sharing that. I appreciate that. That's very human. Very human.
Yeah. So I just think that was the gut check moment for us.
Yeah.
And that's when we really started to be like, okay, if we're gonna be, big boys and girls about this, then what are we gonna do? We're gonna outline it. We're gonna drive it really hard. We're gonna have deadlines. We're gonna have due dates. And we just really started to treat the whole project very differently.
Yeah.
Categorized at the serious level.
Yeah, we needed that gut
Yeah.
check too, because it's like we were starting over for the third time.
Yeah.
It was like, no, this that's book 3.
Yeah.
That's unwieldy, and 2 books at best. So it's like okay, if we do it this day, if it's good enough to start one more time, like we really have to.
Yeah, we have to.
Yeah,
we have to see it through.
I love that. I'm very thankful for you and grateful for you to share that. That's very human. I can relate, and I know so many people else can definitely.
I see somebody else in the chat who said they, had to do a gut check when they lost a friend, and it's like it's very hard to do. It's very hard to write when you're grieving.
Curran,
it's almost impossible. You have to. Yep, there it is. Hi, Curran.
Thank you, Curran, for sharing that.
Yeah, dude, grieve first.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
Writing while you're grieving is very, very difficult.
I'll bet. Very. I like, because you have to
give you
those emotions naturally, right, to kind of get through it.
Right. You have to apply your like, I heard somebody say this one time, like when you're grieving, you're rewriting your own narrative of how you're rewriting what you think your future is, what everything looks like. Your relationships to other people are changing and evolving. And when you're grieving, you're writing, you're just doing a different job.
Yeah.
I like that. I've never heard that, and that is brilliant.
That's something. I was on the way to a funeral one time. That was when I heard that on I think it was like a Smartless podcast. It was like they had somebody who was real smart on that. When they talked about how grieving works, and I was really impressed by how, like, the kind of emotional energy it takes to rewrite that narrative.
Yeah.
It does. It brings in, like, it gives you a chance to face something very real.
Yeah.
So real that it's hard to even comprehend, right?
Right.
And consider your relationship between this and that and them and they and like, what's the goals that I have? That's just, at least from my personal experience.
Right.
What you just said, that quote makes so much sense. Jenny, go cook away. Thank you so much for
Hey, I hope Dawn's doing the dishes.
Yeah, that's only fair.
Yeah, I know you done fed the horses because you're an equestrian lover.
Yeah.
My mother lives in Ocala, Florida, and that is the equine capital of, they say, the world. But anyway, that just reminded me of you, Janny. So thank you so much.
I think that's close to Janny, isn't it? She was in.
I think that's close. Yeah,
Janny's in Central. Janny's in Central. I'm going to out where you live. I'm going to dox Janny right now because that's how much I love her. Why would I do that? I'm not saying where she lives yet.
Right. Yeah, she's in Florida, but
she's in Florida. That's all you need to know.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. So, I guess this kind of leads into the release of Discovery, and if you would kind of talk about when that's going to happen and what's coming up, if anything else.
Absolutely. We
sure, Jacob, you go. Okay. You go, boy.
Before the release date, we're having a pre-sale that starts on our website March 15th through the 21st.
All in the description, by the way, all the links.
Well done.
Yeah.
Is it the 21st? It goes for 7 days. So whatever 7 days after the 15th is, that's when it is.
7 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, starts March 15th. That will get you a signed paperback for, ships internationally, all that good stuff. So if you want to go to our website and get a signed paperback, pre-sale starts March 15th over at jajminton.com in the description. And the actual release date is May the 15th, where you'll be able to buy it off Amazon and all that fun stuff. Ebook, whatever you'd like to do.
Mm-hmm.
So with just to cover everything, so the paperback, the ebook, are there plans for a hardcover or an audio? Just to cover everything.
Audio is in the works.
But
yeah.
Okay.
Not at the moment, but in the works. We're working hard. And as far as a hardcover, no, not right now. But we always hope for the future.
Absolutely.
Something.
If someone wanted to do it for us, that would be awesome.
That would be absolutely incredible. And I think if you'll repeat those dates,
absolutely,
or the signed paperback on your website, JAJMinton.com.
Yes, starts on March 15th and goes on for 7 days.
Yeah.
I should probably look up the.
And you can go there now and sign up for the email alert, and you will get email alerted as soon as the pre-order comes around or starts.
Yeah.
By the way, I've checked out. You know what? I'll do it real quick. Throw it up here.
It's the 22nd, so 7 days after the 15th is the 22nd. Begins on Saturday, ends on a Saturday. March 15th.
How beautiful their website is, y'all.
Hey, Jacob's fiance did that.
Yeah.
She's
a graphic designer. She made the Talking Story brand and made the whole website. She also made the Keyhole Books logo.
Mm-hmm.
With the keyhole in it. She did all of this.
When I found out that your fiance was a graphic designer, man, I loved that because that's what my wife does. And
really?
For those who do that, I'm not making those thumbnails, guys. Your boy ain't got no talent on that. That's the white.
Aww.
I do graphic design work all the time, and she comes into my office multiple times a day and looks over my shoulder and just heavily sighs and walks out.
Even like those ones where you're like, I nailed it, and then she's like,
you should have done this. You need to change that font. Yeah.
Well, if you're happy with it.
That's all that matters.
I'm like, okay, she has 10 and 15 years now experience of this. I should probably trust her opinion. And I'm like, all right, you win. Well, guys, Josh, it's never too late for you to show up, my brother.
No, Josh, welcome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here, Josh.
Yeah, heck yeah. He's over there. He's a Kiwi over in New Zealand. And,
a Kiwi?
That's what I believe. Yeah. I hope that's not like a mean thing to say. That's what they call each other. And that's like calling me. I don't think
it is.
I don't think so either. I just think that means you're from New Zealand. If it's mean, Joshua, please let me know. And I'll probably still say it to you. No, I'm just joking. He's over in New Zealand. So what time is it now? Like 11 in the morning. So it's good to see you either way, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. I don't often have a conversation that has led to multiple different ups and downs emotionally, deeply talked about like those personal aspects as far as process and different life aspects you were going through, inspirations. I usually just get the skim, the top layer, and you guys gave me a lot more than that. And for that, I want to say thank you and just letting me talk to you and gain a lot more insight on this book that I'm already loving.
Oh, man. Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much, Matthew.
This is the first time that I've met you tonight. And I just like you so much right now.
Oh, Amy, you're wonderful as well.
Dude, the beard's awesome. The beard is the goods. When I knew this was the first time we were going to sit down all three together and talk about our book, and it's like,
I'm the first interview.
You're the first one, and it's like we can't do better than I said that's why I asked you if we could come on. It's like, first off, we got to do beard. Like it will be great. Like I will absolutely have a great time.
Now, damn you, John, you're gonna make me tear up. Well, I'm extremely honored because, John, you know, you've been on the channel a long time ago when my channel was, very new. But since then, just watching you guys kind of do your thing and it evolve into this, I'm just glad to have you here, and I'm thankful you guys let me do it. And you guys can come back anytime.
We've been looking forward to this like all week. This was everything we were hoping for. Was absolute blast, dude.
That makes me happy.
Thank you.
So, guys, just having quite a lot more than a taste, I would say. I've got a couple bites. I've ordered the full meal. I'm almost done with the meal. I like how this book tastes, and I know that you will too. And I'm just excited for the masses because, you've gained a wonderful following on Booktube, and that can only benefit and just spread the wonderfulness that I'm reading and experiencing with you guys. So just all the wonderful vibes that I can send, I'm sending them. And I know that everybody else that watches your channel and that will watch your channel does as well. So thank you so much.
Dude, you're the goods, man.
Thank
you. I'm telling you, we started right around the same time when we talked last time. It's like we're the class of, what was it, 2023?
2024, right?
2024. Yeah. And it's like, no.
23.
We've got some real ones in that class.
You're 23.
I was 23.
Yeah.
But he was right after 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yep, I was in 24. Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's no accident, Beard. There was the first person I reached out to be on first. There was no accident. I wanted to be here first, man.
Man, thank you so much for that.
Because what a thrill for us on this channel you've had just lately, Rollins and
dude, he was
and Tad, and it's like the biggies of Raymond D. Feist. Like for us to sit here with you, this
it's just
is
like
awesome.
what are we doing here?
I hope nobody takes this the wrong way, like Tad or Raymond, but this is much more special to me for sure. So,
oh man,
yep, Jacob, man, it's been awesome to
Take that, Tad and Raymond.
It's been awesome to talk to you face to face, Amy and Jacob, and I just wish you a wonderful night and all the wonderful vibes in the world come your way.
Thank you so
man.
much. Thank
Yeah,
you everybody in the
thank
chat
you
for being
us
here with us. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you to Senna for the $10.
Oh, dude, thank you for saying that. Last night you sent me something, and thank you so much. And I forgot I didn't see her. Dude, thank you so much. Ithra, you're the best. I threw your name out there. Sue me.
Spend it all in
Senna,
one place.
Library on legs, man. She's the goods too.
Yes, thank you, John. She does have a great, and she brings a wonderful aspect too. She trains horses. Like what other booktuber do you know that trains horses? No one.
Right. And does her content like from the stables. It's awesome. Yeah.
Very cool. Senna, thank you so much. All right. So of course I have to say the YouTube stuff, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for all the notifications. Go to John's Talking Story. Well, all three of theirs Booktube channel. And I know you're already subscribed, but if you're not, subscribe. All of the links you'll need, including the website, X, Instagram, anything you'll need is in the descriptions. You three have a wonderful night. Y'all in the chat have a wonderful night. Anyone who watches it on replay, thank you. Comment your favorite part in the comments, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thanks so much, Beard.